Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Habitat Update, the podcast about entrepreneurship in Japan, based in and focusing on the Kansai area of Japan with the cities Kyoto, Osaka, Kobe, and so on. The podcast goes live every 2 weeks towards the end of the week as a video on YouTube and as a audio-only version on SoundCloud and iTunes. Check it out, subscribe, follow. This is episode 9. And my name is Tugi. With me today, once more, Sabrina. Hi, Sabrina. How are you?
Hi, Tugi. Great. Good to be with you here again. Today at GVH, Global Venture Habitat, grown from Osaka. I like Osaka very much. It's great to be in such a central area at JR Osaka, Umeda area.
Unbelievable. That's marketing, right? I didn't even say anything. But yes, we're here at the GVH Osaka. The co-working space here in Grand Front, and we have an amazing feature here. If you're watching the video version, you see now a screen with the logo of the podcast. That's like, but don't get too used to it. Might change the next time. Do you have any interesting news? What happened in the recent days?
Well, it's been a busy time. Apparently, the end of the fall is actually when things happen a lot here in Kansai.
Did you the leaves fall as well? Now, it's not so startup related, but did you go for some momiji watching?
Of course, that's what you do in Japan.
Explain really quick what is momiji.
Momiji is in the fall season when you really not only see the leaves falling, but the change of colors.
Yes.
So as Japanese is a very Japan and Japanese are very seasonal. They do appreciate every single day according to what's changing in terms of season. I think for the food culture, also chains and festivals and so on. So I've been to many places. I've been to the Kyomizudera area, Higashiyama, basically in Kyoto, Arashiyama, the bamboo forest. So, but as you can see, if you ride the train anywhere in this area of Kansai, you still see a lot of... now there are probably yellow leaves about to fall down, and maybe 2 weeks ago you could see still the red leaves.
Which can be also really nice, like the yellow leaves. If you go, for instance, in the Imperial Palace, in the gardens of the Imperial Palace in Kyoto, when once the yellow leaves start falling, and if it's windy, it's like raining, and you
Amazing.
hear the leaves falling,
Beautiful.
and it's like meditating, walking through there. That's cool. So, but I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, I just say this is a metaphor, as related to the season. So yes. I feel that before the end of the year, there's a lot going on, and people are getting prepared for the end of the year. That means a lot of events, a lot of meetups. We had a lot of international delegations visiting Kansai.
True.
When we got the chance to meet some cool projects and countries that are trying to do something interesting with Japan.
True.
And I see a lot of opportunities for startups to be in the middle of the conversation, especially when it comes to IoT manufacturing and so on.
Great. Let's jump then right in. You already made the bridge to recent events and people we met, and we had the GVH meetup.
Yeah.
We called it the Opportunities for the Youth to Step Up Entrepreneurship in Kansai with Alan Miner, CEO and founder of Sunbridge Global Ventures. And that turned out really interesting. Now you were in the audience, but before that, so I'm working with him, right? So we prepared together really quick some slides and so on. I prepared just in case. And he was like, oh, okay, we can do this, we can do that. And in the end, it turned from my initially planned presentation to actually a very interactive talk with the audience. We had some really younger students as well as older participants, but then they shared all their stories, asked question about startups, about life in general. I think that was really cool.
I think it was very productive. I think Alan, besides being an entrepreneur and a global mindset businessman, he's very focused on mentoring and supporting the local ecosystem. So I think every time I get the chance, if the listeners or audience, let's share the link, because the event was
the
broadcast.
video is recorded. We managed a last minute live stream because we had a unfortunate not a competing but just a parallel event going on, which was also very interesting. I would have joined, and then we said if anyone decided to go there and not to join us, we recorded the live stream. It's on Facebook. I can share it in the descriptions, or just check out the GVH Osaka Facebook page.
Sure, I think it's good to have broadcast events because you still have the record, and then you can always check it out and get inspiration. I think it's very important to have the dreamers in the ecosystem that bring a huge vision and take the risk and take the lead, because Japan, I think, has many brave people who are willing to follow and adopt new possibilities. So I think Alan has been a good mentor for our ecosystem. Hopefully we have more mentors like him.
Yeah, I mean, there are more, but not all of them are visible yet. It's important to bring them to the daylight and let people talk to them. Let them be inspired by them. Okay, well, after that, I haven't been to really many other events. I don't know, smaller meetups or anything.
I have been to basically those embassies. This week there's a lot of going on here.
Yeah. So let's go into that. We had when was it? 2 days ago. I joined with you actually together. We went to the, I don't know what it was exactly called, but it was kind of like an Israel-Japan economic relations and innovation event.
Kansai. Economic.
That was interesting. It was a very, very formal government agreement event where they also signed some agreements and so on. So it was not really startup oriented, but nevertheless they talked about innovation and how they could collaborate. And they also one of the interesting sentences was challenge the system, ask questions to go to school to ask questions, not answer questions.
Yeah, I think startups were the main topics of the discussions. They were mentioned many times, and the agreements are in the area of IoT, robots, and AI. So those are all areas that startups both in Japan and in Israel are covering. So it's very interesting to consider that.
That was cool, yeah. And then today, actually, we just more or less came from there. We went to this Canadian delegation visiting event at the Osaka Innovation Hub. You actually still have the maple leaf pin on your chest there, and it was about smart manufacturing and industrial IoT. We had introduction presentation by the Embassy of Canada in Tokyo, and then followed by pitches by the various companies as well as some smaller startups. But it was a mixed thing, and it was very interesting to talk to all these people, and they have some crazy ideas.
Yeah, this delegation was organized by a very innovative player that is doing acceleration and supporting the Canadian ecosystem. Canada, as we know, is a huge country. It's very decentralized, not very populated. I would say Canada is exactly the opposite of Japan in that sense, but they do see the possibility of connecting more different hubs depending on the distance, and they're gonna be organized in super hubs, super areas of the economy that should be connected no matter where they are located.
Anyway, well, it was really cool to talk to them, and what the questions they asked us was more or less hey, so how is the market here, and if we want to get to people, if we want to meet others, how does that work? How is it difficult to enter Japan? And that leads me a little bit to one other thing we saw recently in the news, which was related to the more or less so far failed market entry of Uber in Japan, right? It was the article, I actually printed it out here, about, it was titled, it was by Japan Times, Japan's taxi prince fights to keep Uber at bay. And it is more or less about how basically the owner of the Nihon Kotsu, the main taxi company in Tokyo, is fighting Uber, and he's doing that by not only highly promoting, of course, the taxi service there, but starting his own car sharing or taxi sharing startup, and kind of I don't want to say, I don't know if you can name it like that, but totally monopolizing the area and the field. Or I don't know, how do you see that, or what's
I see that I understand the reasons why he got so much support from the community. First, he's considered an expert in that industry, so he's seen as a senior enough to try to do a new initiative, even though he's already in the taxi industry. The model of carpooling, car sharing is a very new in Japan. So he's the one who's got enough support and power and even lobby to make it happen. And I do think this is a monopoly, but I think it's very important. It's a red flag for startups trying to enter the Japanese market because you have to be aware of its own limitations. If Uber suffered that much, it means that you have to understand the players you should try to work with instead of compete against.
Yeah, I mean, yes, by all means, like Uber had its difficulties recently, and it's some people think it's crazy that they still exist.
And the Uber, some had C-level manager of Uber Japan has been promoted or transferred to WeWork Japan. So that's very interesting to notice that.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. So he has experience and takes it over. But one thing when you said, I'm sorry for jumping around, but you said like he's senior enough, the CEO of the taxi company in Tokyo, senior enough to be respected. That's funny. Like he's 47, and that's actually considered still sort of like young.
Yeah, it is
to
for
be
Japan.
a CEO of something such.
But
large.
that's a family business. He's been doing this since he was very young, and he learned from his father.
Well, I learned
so it's still considered as a family business. So in that sense, not only himself but his family history allows him to be considered an expert.
True. So he says it himself in this interview. He's like, I was brainwashed basically to take over the company. There was no other way. And then again, I'm not sure if he would be already there. If his father passed away, that's how he then actually jumped in. So it was a bit a early challenge for him.
Succession. Yeah,
it was 10 years ago. He was like 37. That is kind of young to have something that large in your hands.
Yeah, but that happens very often. Like you see with many innovative companies. This week there was an article chosen by Forbes about Japan and innovation Japan. It was written by Tim Romero, Disrupting Japan, where he mentions one company from Kyoto, Hoso Kyoto. It's a textile traditional, a family business that is over 380 years, I guess.
Very old.
And they managed to innovate through the young generation, partner with global brands doing innovation in terms of textile conductive inks and sensors, which is quite different from their original industry that was mainly the obi, the kimono belt. So I see that those family business that have young-minded entrepreneurs can still lead innovation or at least open the ways for the newcomers to try new things.
Open up new collaborations.
Because I see from the textile industry in Kyoto, Hoso family opened this entire new possibility for local craftsmen or textile part players. They didn't know that was possible, and now it's mainly generating some awareness, but still there's some more work to be done in order to qualify and build skills for those family-run business to be competitive and global.
So yes, and then again, like as you said before, and as it is very well known actually, and as you see with the taxi case here as well, and Uber, these well-established, long history companies, very, very respected companies in Japan, to fight those or to compete with them is very difficult. To make a market entry with a competitive product, even if it might be more as like better, it is still difficult to compete because they are kind of like, it's a very, we mentioned that before many times, Japan is a relationship-based country in as well as in private as in business. And if you don't have the network, and if you just jump in and try, people might just kind of like exclude you. There are many, in that sense, gatekeepers, as you want to call them, and just kind of like block the way. Block the way to enter and to be successful, as he did, just starting his own company. I mean, so you have to be aware of all these difficulties. It's not exclusive to Japan. You have it everywhere, but it's very strong here.
I think for Westerners, foreigners who are not aware of the Japanese business culture, that's the challenge.
Yes.
So my recommendation would be try to study the market.
Yes.
Find the key partners and try to convince them to work with you. Because if they can see the gains, the advantage, they can actually help you to enter the market. Maybe with a brand, using their own local brand, but in the end of the day, you just want to do your business. So I think it's important to consider that.
Yeah, yes, and we met actually also other companies here. Like they were not just about introducing their brand and being the best, but like one word is white labeling, right? Just sell your technology and they can use it under their names, and you still make your money, right? And you have licenses and so on. But it changes, of course, from industry to industry, and it's very different. And one other thing is like understand the market. You said like do your homework, right? And we talked about the seasons and that Japan is a very seasonal country. That's also one thing not to neglect, especially if you're in the kind of like in the gastronomy industry. That was one of the reasons why like McDonald's or some entries like Kit Kat is so successful here, because they adapted to this rhythm, to the people here, to their demands, having always these like very special offerings, special desserts, special flavors, changing with the seasons, with seasonal ingredients, and so on and so forth. And this goes actually for everything. You see, from clothes to water bottles. I don't know,
Maybe.
like waters with different tastes. I made that up now, but I'm sure if we were looking for them, we find them somewhere in one of those thousands and thousands of vending machines. Coca-Cola. Yeah, even Coca-Cola. They have like special editions here. I saw recently like the white cola or the
And you
special
have the
taste
Kyoto
cola.
special edition.
Yeah, special editions, regional ones. Each prefecture might have even their own taste, as it is sometimes with Kit Kat.
Yeah, but it's basically the Japanese food culture that is very related to sweets or specific treats that they call omiyage, the souvenirs. That's usually food you bring back home. So that's how they try to build local identity, even if in such a small country.
It is.
Compared to Western standards.
So in that sense, I don't know, to sum it up, I would say like, you're planning to come to Japan with your business. Well, do your homework, locate the local, check the local players, the gatekeepers, see how the dynamics work here, what your product, how it could survive, how it could integrate into the society, and very important, look for it. Try to establish a Japanese team or look for someone who supports you here with marketing and sales, because that's also one thing many often fail, and that's a common practice here. You just have you deploy your Japanese team here.
Localization doesn't work in Japan. Yeah. Even Oracle wasn't successful until they launched its own Oracle Japan unit. So
you have, it's still a little bit, unfortunately, like it is a very isolated market, and you have to play the game the way the rules here. Have anything to add to that?
No, that's it.
That's a lot of heavy talk. Let's move on to something lighter, and let me go through the list of upcoming events then we have in the next 2.5 weeks. By the way, we never have these. We never have any like clear sections. Should we make a sound like?
Okay,
I don't know. Well, I don't know, audience. Let us know what you think. Do you want clear divisions? Do you want some sound effects? Let us know. What do we have here? I have actually quite a lot. The list is very long here today. 10 upcoming events I picked out. One of them is on Saturday, December 2nd, which is the Kyoto Indie Meetup. We mentioned it before. It's a meetup for independent game developers, game lovers. You can just go there. People present their projects and so on and so forth.
So that's all about passion, not business.
It's about passion. It's also about business. You can meet maybe your next...
Maybe you can build your business, but the purpose is to have fun and share passions.
Well, yeah, it's interactive entertainment.
Yeah, sure.
This might have a huge competition these days. By the way, just to quickly mention, we have the Tokyo Comic Con going on from Friday to Sunday. I just realized that by coincidence. Not really related to us, but that's interesting if you're up for that. Then we have on December 5th, Tuesday, the Monozukuri Hardware Cup 2018 orientation event, more geared towards locals with a hardware startup, I guess. But you can tell us more about it. Last time we announced it.
Yeah, it's going to be at Kyoto Makers Garage near JR Tombaguchi. It starts from 7 p.m. There will be 2 speakers talking about the possibilities for hardware startups building new products. and a brief report about this year event. The 3 Japanese startups that were invited and joined our tour to not only New York City but also to Pittsburgh, where they joined the global Harbor Cup competition. So I think it's very interesting. It's one thing that all entrepreneurs and mentors that I've heard here, they really recommend Japanese entrepreneurs and startups to spend some time abroad, visit different ecosystems, learn from what is going on, but still come back home and see what works for the local ecosystem. So
true. Maybe real quick to ask. So this is the info day basically for the event you can participate in during the Hakosaka 2018 event in February.
Yeah.
A competition, a pre-selection for the Japanese representation for the Hardware Cup in the States, in Pittsburgh. What are the needed? What is
the requirements?
Requirements.
One, you are a hardware startup. That means you have a physical prototype that you can show and it works and validates your
physical
idea.
Prototype, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Second, you're based in Japan. You don't need to be established as a company yet, but you need to be based in Japan. Third, you must be able to pitch and answer questions about your business in English and also have business meetings, because during the event in Pittsburgh,
this is one of the harder points.
There are B2B meetings with investors.
Yes.
And unless you're really prepared for that, you might not give the best impression for your business. So if you don't feel like you're ready for that, come talk to us. We can help you with coaching, with practices, and we are very open for that. We really want more entrepreneurs to try. Give yourself a chance to try. Take the risk. That's
important. Yes. Thank you. Then let's move on. If you're interested in that, you're in Japan, go check it out. If you missed that event, Makers Bootcamp has a next event in the same week. We're very busy these days.
Yeah.
It's the Monozukuri Hub meetup you have very regularly every month usually. December 7th, Thursday evening. And the title is How to Launch a Startup Product from an Idea. And an old colleague of us here, Sunbridge Global Ventures, is going to be there, I think, as a speaker.
Yeah,
Ikuo Hiraishi.
Hiraishi-san, he's an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur.
Yes.
He's been supporting the local ecosystem both in Kansai and Tokyo. And I think the other thing that we will have to announce during the meetup is the Hello Tomorrow Japan. So it's a new initiative in Japan. Hello Tomorrow is a global startup competition held in France every year that aims to bring R&D experts and scientists that are doing really proven science tech, deep tech, and bring it to a startup model, make a business out of it. So the idea is to take the projects out of the academia and bring it to the business that will actually help people to have a better quality of life. So Hello Tomorrow Japan will be launched next year, and we'll have the representative here in Japan come in and tell us what's the idea behind it. So it's not only about one event, it's about building a long-term vision, an ecosystem where researchers can actually have support and tools to bring their projects from the academia to the world.
Great. On December 9th, which is a Saturday, we have the Hacker News Kansai together with the Osaka web designers and developers meetup, basically the same organizers, throwing a 2017 end of year party. Well, it's gonna be in another location, a restaurant. But if you're interested in that, if you're interested to meet especially foreigners, foreign coders in the area, that's the place to be. That's the place to go. Then what we have, I have never talked about it before, but here we have on December 9th, same day on Saturday, a meetup group called Learn Japanese and Make Japanese Friends is by a team member of the Compass event we mentioned recently.
And they are doing now through an event that aims to teach Japanese to foreigners?
No, she had that group I think before, and she's channeling a little bit some topics that might help people looking for jobs in Japan. And so the topic, the group is called Learn Japanese and Make Japanese Friends, and the topic this time is going to be let's make your own Japanese business card, because of course I guess the audience knows, some countries, some regions around the world have their own formats and their own expectations and all these rules of what should be there and what is the most effective way, how you should present your cards. Especially in Japan, there are a lot of rules in general, so this might be interesting, especially if you're not very familiar with all that. Later, December 10th on Sunday, we have Robotics in Osaka 2017 event. I think it's going to be in Japanese, but I just saw that on Facebook. That was interesting. It's an interesting topic. After that, December 13th, Wednesday, the Service Design Kansai group is going to have have an event here at the Global Venture Habitat Osaka. It's called Service Design Drink Volume 2, where they basically talk, like present, as well as have sort of an interactive workshop. If you're interested, you're all welcome. Looking forward to see you. I'm going to be there for sure. Then later, December 13th, oh no, wait, this is the same day, on Wednesday as well, is the monthly Osaka Makers Meetup. Well, the name is program. I guess you meet interested people in making things in Osaka. Then, December 14th, Thursday, I never heard of that before, but it's the IOTA Osaka Meetup. Well, it's number 1. Okay. It's actually just a Tokyo Meetup live stream. And what is IOTA? IOTA is a protocol and a digital currency specially designed for IoT and machine economy. Not sure, I didn't dug into that. I just picked that up. That was the description, but sounds interesting. Blockchain is always a thing, right? And new technologies, IoT is a right mix of interesting buzzwords. Go check it out. And oh my god, I'm getting to the end. Well, I just have listed one more. One thing we already mentioned is the Hakozaka event. You can book that in your calendar. Huge event here in Osaka, of course. Don't miss it out. Check the webpage. And we'll be around for sure. Great. Now, if I mentioned it last time, if I forgot or didn't mention any event you saw or you organize and you think it's very interesting, it's related to entrepreneurship and startups, and doesn't have to be, but ideally, of course, in the Kansai area, please let us know. Drop us a message, send us a mail, and I feature it. I'm happy to feature it. It's all about supporting and making the area a bit more transparent and accessible for everyone. And anything from you, Sabrina, to add to all this?
No.
Okay, let's go to the reader mails. Good, we are finished. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have anything to add, if you are interested to participate here, if you want to join one of our meetups, be it the Makers Bootcamp one or the GVH meetup here in Osaka or Kyoto, respectively, let us know. You can feel free to write us. The email is HabitatUpdate@gmail.com, or then you can reach us, for instance, on Twitter, me at GwenST, and Sabrina or her team at Makers Bootcamp. And with that, I think we are coming. How many minutes do we have today? Well, it's, we're kind of like getting a routine of 30 minutes. I like that. It's a nice time. So let's close this thing. Any last words?
Hope to see you all next week at Kyoto Makers Garage in one of events, either Monozukuri Hardware Cup presentation on Tuesday the 5th of December, or on Monozukuri Hub Meetup on Thursday the 7th from 7 p.m. Kyoto Makers Garage at JR Tomaguchi.
Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tugi, here with me Sabrina today, and this has been Habitat Update Episode 9, the podcast about entrepreneurship in Japan, focusing on the Kansai area, going live every 2 weeks on YouTube as a video and as an audio-only podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. Thank you very much.
See you soon.